Hi, my name's Madison, and today we're going to do a size-inclusive pattern roundup. Before we get started, I just wanted to thank everybody for the response on my first video. I got some very good feedback, so hopefully background is a little prettier, hopefully the sound is a little bit better. I don't have a microphone, but I do have AirPods, so I'm hoping that the sound is a little bit better. I did like a test video and it sounded better. My neighbor is unfortunately getting their yard dug up today, so hopefully you can't hear that in the background, but we're gonna power through because my son just went down for a nap. He's 1. If you know, you know. Gotta do it now before he wakes up. Before I get started, I wanted to give a huge shout out to Autumn, who runs the Size Inclusive Collective Instagram account where I found all of these patterns. It is an amazing account if you are looking for size inclusive patterns. Everything that's posted there is size inclusive. I find it a really great visual way to look for patterns because the Ravelry search function is not great. So I like going on there and being able to see photos of everything and knowing that at least they're all size inclusive. And then from there I can narrow down exactly what I'm looking for. So I will link that below if you want to go check it out. She also has a Discord page that I'm a moderator of, which is just like a great group of people that are trying to support each other and be size inclusive and share our tips and tricks and whips and just share the things that make us happy. And it's a great space to be a part of. So for today, I wanted to specifically share a pattern roundup of top-down cabled sweaters. I see lots of people sharing like their fall winter knitting plans and pattern roundups. Unfortunately, I have yet to see one that features all size inclusive patterns. I'm not trying to shame anyone or call anybody out. I just wanted to put this out there for people so that hopefully everybody watching would be able to knit every single pattern that I'm about to share with you because they are all size inclusive. I went for top-down cable sweaters because that's what I wanted to knit. So I was looking for patterns specifically that meet those criteria. And I found 10 patterns that I'm going to share with you today that, wow, they're so gorgeous. I want to knit all of these. I know that I can't. I have picked 2 out of the 10 that are on my to knit list, one that I already have the pattern and the yarn for, and hopefully I'll be able to swatch for this weekend, and then another one that I'm going to have to get yarn for because it's just, I want it so bad. I think that's everything that I wanted to cover, so let's jump in to the patterns. And I will have photos popping up. Learned how to do that from last time, so I'll have photos of the garments that I'm talking about popping up as I talk about them. So the first pattern I want to share is the Sew Sweater by Strandberg. It is a DK weight sweater and it looks to be a contiguous knit sweater. It looks kind of like a saddle shoulder because the cable detail runs all the way from the collar seamlessly down to the cuff, but you start with the collar, so I'm pretty sure it's contiguous knit and not a true saddle shoulder. But I really like that the cable detail is on the sleeves. I think that's kind of unique. Often when you just see like one cable on something, it's down the middle. So I like that the main body of the sweater is just plain stockinette, super easy knit. The rib details are all 2x2 rib, which is like a nice chunky rib for fall. I love a 2x2. It just is like cozy, squishy. Another detail that I like about this is the split hem. Love a good split hem with it's a little bit longer in the back than it is in the front, and then those rib details continue down the side, like down the underarm, so it almost gives it like a faux seam look. But it's just like an extra detail that I liked about this sweater. This one has 9 sizes ranging from a 36-inch to a 68-inch bust with 7 inches of recommended ease. Next sweater is the Nest by TinCan Knits. It's a worsted weight sweater pattern, and it is a raglan construction with a cable detail going down the front and the back, which if you only wanted to do the front, I don't see why you wouldn't be able to do that if you wanted to just have a little bit of less cabling to do. One thing that I really like about this pattern is it looks like it's reversible. So I see pictures on the pattern page of it being worn with the stockinette side out and with the reverse stockinette side out. So it looks like you could wear it either way, which is very, very cool. This pattern has pretty straight sleeves. It looks like there's gonna be like a little bit of shaping, but they're not super tight. And it features a really long cuff. So a super long rib that you can fold over, which I really like. I like in the wintertime being able to have like an extra long sleeve so that if your hands are a little bit chilly, you forgot mittens or something like that, you can fold the cuff over and have a little extra coverage. Another thing that I really like about specifically TinCan knit patterns in general, almost all of the ones that I've seen range from a newborn size, and this one goes up to a 70-inch bust, so that's a huge range of sizes. You could knit your entire family matching sweaters if you want to, which I think would be very, very cute, like a winter family photo shoot with all of you wearing the same sweater would be adorable. Like start now for next winter maybe. But I love that all of the sizes are included. And then it's a recommended ease of 1 to 4 inches for that sweater. The next sweater is the Stook sweater by Olga Putano. It is a DK weight sweater with, it says it's a drop shoulder, but again, it kind of looks like a saddle shoulder because the rib goes all the way down the shoulder seamlessly, down the sleeve into the cuff, which I really like. This sweater is an all over ribbed sweater with the cable detail being at on the edges. So the cuff and the hem, instead of it just being a plain rib, it's a cabled rib at the bottom, which I just think is such a beautiful detail. There's also just like one cable at the center front under the collar and the center back under the collar, which I think is a gorgeous detail as well. It kind of makes it feel like a romantic sweatshirt. I don't know if that's like a thing, but that's the first thing I thought of when I saw this sweater. I really like that the body on this is very oversized, but then the sleeves are fitted. It makes it look a little bit more intentional, that like you tried to make it oversized. You didn't just knit one that was too big for you. This one has 6 sizes, going from a 43-inch bust to an 83-inch bust with 10 to 18 inches of ease. The next one is the Snowy Forest by Midori Hirose. This is a worsted weight pattern. They recommend a sport plus a lace weight like mohair for this pattern. So you could hold multiple strands together to get to that worsted weight, or you could just use a worsted weight. This one is a circular yoke, which I really like the cables just radiate out. The cables are only on the yoke. And I just really like how they just radiate out from that collar. The collar looks like a folded over collar, and it looks like it's a pretty wide collar, but I also like that for winter because I feel like it would look really good with like a fitted, like store-bought fitted turtleneck underneath with this over top. I just think that that gives you that extra layering option for the wintertime. Like maybe you have enough layers that you don't need to wear a coat over it, depending on what winter is like for you where you are. Winter's pretty mild here, so sometimes like if it's sunny out, you can get away with just a thick sweater. I also really like the sleeves on this. They're kind of like bell sleeves, kind of got like that voluptuous oversized statement sleeve going on, with a pretty tight cuff at the end. But it's nice because they're just in plain stockinette. Like I don't think that the sleeves overpower the beautiful yoke. I just think it's like a nice extra detail on this sweater. This one has 12 sizes ranging from 36 inches to 68 inches with 6 inches of recommended ease. The next 2 patterns actually are from the same designer, Jenny Ansah of Koti Kotoni Knit Designs. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I'm probably not. I'm really sorry. The first one is called the Halko, which is an Aran weight sweater. It's a circular yoke. And what I really like about this sweater is it kind of is like stripes of cables. So the yoke is plain stockinette, and then you have like this stripe of cables, and then it goes back to plain stockinette. You have another stripe of cables, and then it repeats on the sleeves. I think the sleeves have 3 stripes, which I just think is so cool. Like, I don't think I've ever seen stripes of cables before. One thing to note is because cables tend to be less stretchy than stockinette, I do worry that that band of stockinette in between the cables might puff out a little bit. So you'd have to be careful of your gauge with that. It's just one of the things that I thought of, but I absolutely love the style of this sweater. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. This one has 8 sizes, so it goes from a 36-inch bust to a 72-inch bust with 3.5 to 5.5 inches of ease recommended. The next pattern by this designer is the Ohra Pullover, which is a DK weight sweater, also a circular yoke, but it starts out with a twisted rib collar, and then it goes into this twisted rib detail, which then goes into the cables, which I just think is absolutely gorgeous. I love how it looks from the back with the short rows with the twisted rib. It just looks absolutely beautiful. I love twisted stitches. And I find them to be like a little bit simpler than cables. So it looks like a lot of detail, but it's mostly twisted stitches with then goes into cables at the bottom of the yoke. So this sweater has 9 sizes going from a 35-inch to a 67.5 inch with 3 to 5 approximately inches of ease recommended. The next pattern is the Solare by Locatelli. This is a worsted weight pattern, circular yoke construction, which I think in the description she mentions that it was inspired by rays of sun, which I can totally see, especially because, again, of that circular yoke. The cables really radiate out from that collar, which I just think is absolutely beautiful. And then there are lines of, it looks like 1 by 1 rib also expanding out of that. So it really just looks like your face is the sun and the sweater is the rays, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. This one also has a different rib than I think I've ever seen before. It looks like it's a 3 by 2 rib, which you see lots of 2 by 2. I've seen 3 by 1. I don't know if I've ever seen a 3 by 2, and it just looks really like chunky, cozy, and I really like that. This pattern has 10 sizes ranging from a 30-inch to a 75-inch with about 4 inches of recommended ease. The next sweater is the Freddie Pullover by Chen. This one is a DK weight, but she recommends using a fingering and a lace weight, which I really like the idea of using like a mohair for a cabled sweater, because often you want to use like a very round yarn for cables so that the cables really stand out. But I like the idea of using a mohair to just like soften it a little bit. It's kind of got that romantic vibe again. And I also like that these cables, they're not like your typical braided cable. They're kind of like almost like a herringbone pattern cable with all over rib with these stripes of like the herringbone, which I think is very pretty. I also really like that this is a very unique neckline. It is a V-neck with then a double knit collar, which I think is very pretty. Again, it kind of gives you like that oversized sweatshirt feel, which would be great with like, again, a turtleneck underneath for winter time. Just, yeah, very, very nice. I like this one a lot. This one comes in 10 sizes going from a 38-inch bust to a 74-inch bust with 8 to 10 inches of recommended ease. These last 2 patterns are definitely the most intense patterns, all over cables. Like, this is, we're getting into heavy cables here. The first one is the Purpurea sweater by Teti Lutsak. I hope I pronounced any of that correctly. It's an Aran weight sweater, recommended to hold 2 strands of DK together. So again, you could hold multiple strands, or you could just use one Aran weight. It is a circular yoke with the cables starting out thin, going thicker as you go down, which I just think is very pretty, very interesting how she worked the increases to make the cables expand like that. And then the bottom rib continues with that. Like, you don't switch to a different size of rib, you stick with the same amount. So basically the cables just end and you end with the same type of ribbing at the bottom, which I think is really, really nice. Some projects, the cables are only on the body, and then where you split for sleeves, you just do stockinette. But I found this one project, I don't know if it was a tester or if it was just someone who knit this project, but they kept the cables going all the way down the sleeve, and then they didn't do any sleeve shaping at all. They just like kind of left it as a oversized sleeve, and it is just so beautiful, so beautiful that, like, I absolutely love this. This one has 9 sizes ranging from 36 inches to 67 inches with 4 to 7 inches of ease recommended. The last sweater is the Dornie sweater by Rebecca Clow of the Crayabea. I love this sweater too. This is a raglan construction all over cables, and this is like your typical, what is it called? Fisherman sweater. So this is like your typical fisherman cabled sweater. I really like that it is more of a unisex pattern. So like you could knit one for you and your partner, and like you could share it, and one of you gets it oversized and one of you is not as oversized maybe. Like, I know with me and my husband's smaller than I am. So if I knit it for me, it would probably be oversized on him, but I also kind of like that look. This one has 10 sizes ranging from 32 inches to 67 inches with 2 to 4 inches of recommended ease. I might make this one with a little bit more ease. Like, I would maybe go one size up just to kind of get that, oh, what's that movie? Knives Out. That Knives Out, like Chris, is it Chris Pine? One of the Chris's has like a cream fisherman sweater in that movie. This is like, would be perfect in a cream color. Absolutely gorgeous. So those are all of the patterns that I found. I hope that you found some inspiration in them, or maybe that you found one that you are planning on knitting. I know that I found 2 that I am planning on knitting. So drum roll, please. I don't know if I know how to add that yet, but we'll see if I managed it. So the first one that I'm going to knit is the Freddie Pullover by Emily Chen. I love the unique look of it with the V-neck and the double knit collar, the oversized drop shoulder look. I already have yarn in stash that will work perfectly for it. I'll keep that a secret until my next podcast episode because I haven't managed to do a swatch or anything yet. I'm hoping to swatch this weekend for it, and I'm very, very excited about it. And the second one that is on my to knit this winter list is the Purpurea by Teti Lutsak. Specifically that one photo where the cables go all the way down the sleeve and it's kind of like a bigger sleeve. I absolutely fell in love with that photo. I would like to get yarn. I'd like to knit it in the same color, the exact same way, with the exact same fit, like in love. So I'm gonna have to do some research and figure out what yarn I could use for it. I don't think I have anything in stash, but it just gives me an excuse to go yarn shopping, so I'm not mad about it. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm hoping to do more size inclusive pattern roundups. So if there is a specific style of sweater or construction of sweater that you are looking for, that you would like me to make a pattern roundup for, let me know in the comments. And I'd be happy to do that because I love browsing patterns and looking for patterns, and I love it. I love watching other people knit patterns that maybe I don't have time to knit, so that I can, you know, live vicariously through everyone else. So again, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.